Hey guys, welcome back to Surveying with Robert's Tuesday tip. So, don't know if you guys are going or not, but the Mississippi Association of Professional Land Surveyors has a conference going on. It's going to be Thursday this week, whichever week this is. I'd have to look it up and tell you. I don't know. What is today? 2nd. So, today's February the 2nd, 2025. So this Thursday and Friday is going to be the Mississippi Association of Professional Surveyors Conference. I'm going to be there. The whole NEI gang is going to be there. If you guys are going to be there, you need to look me up. We can talk about this stuff a little bit more if you want to. So what I wanted to show you guys today was the MultiTrack Prism. So MultiTrack is kind of cool. It is, as far as I know, it's the only one of its kind, right? So see if I can get it off the pole without dropping on the ground. Which brings me to a whole nother subject of how expensive these things are. But anyways, you've got, basically it's an R8 battery, is what we call them. There's a little candy bar battery that goes in this thing. It's the same battery Trimble's had forever. Pop that dude in, clips in. Do not use aftermarket batteries in this thing, because if you do, you'll have to drill a hole and put a screw in it to pull it back out. Because these things have tight tolerance. So do not use an aftermarket battery without doing some extreme testing first, or hearing from somebody else that battery worked, because you get in there and you may not get it out. Okay, so let's talk about this puppy a little bit. First of all, I don't know how many of you know, you can unscrew the top of this thing, like so, and up here, right here in the top of it, it tells you what the prism constant is. And in this case, it says minus 34 millimeter. I didn't think it was that big. What am I looking at? I can't see it. I got to put my old man glasses on. Yeah, so offset to top mount 34 millimeters. Prism constant is 10 millimeters. That's what I thought. So the prism constant on this thing is 10 millimeters. You notice the LEDs all the way around this thing? Do not, under any circumstances, be cute and push those in. If you do, it's going to mess your vertical all up, and maybe even your horizontal. I'm not sure, but I know it'll mess your vertical up. So don't destroy the prism by pushing these in. This prism is, I believe now, is over $3,500. I can remember when it was $3,000, and I thought, oh my God. Trimble originally came out with a prism with the S6, and it was active tracking, but it was just a box with a red light or LED thing on the front of it. Okay, so and you could do different channels and stuff, but it had to be pointed at the gun in order to work. So we whined until Trimble finally came out of 360. That other prism back in the day was probably $1,000, something like that. I don't really remember, but when this came out, it was $3,000. And I was like, Jesus, I know we wanted one, but come on. But hey, this thing is a brick, but boy, does it work. And I'm going to show you that because behind me, I've got 8 360 prisms I got from Amazon, and I will leave an affiliate link in the notes on the video to where you guys can buy these things. They're, depending on where you get them from, 80 and 100 bucks a piece. I've got 8 of them. So I use them for doing like resectioning with SX12 scanning and stuff, and we'll get into all that probably in another video. But I've got 8 of those. I have 2 standard R10 360 prisms behind me and 1 Seco. When you add this one in, that's 12 prisms out there. Had a buddy roll up here the other day, and he's like, holy crap, it's a sea of prisms out there. And I'm like, yeah, I got a bunch of them out there. So one of the things that makes this really cool is that it's got 8 channels on it. So when you're looking at this thing, you pop it in, it's on off. I have up to 8 channels I can put this thing on. What that means is I can have 8 robots running around on a job site, each one of these prisms on a different number, and I don't have to worry about them interfering with each other. So that is super cool. So let's screw this thing back on here. I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to do. And I do this a lot when I'm doing demos, but I can see where, you know, this could come in really handy if you don't have like state plane coordinates on something or something like that. So let's get into the data collector. I'm going to create a new job, and I already got one in here, but I'm going to call it MT for MultiTrack. I'm going to say MultiTrack. Mississippi East, enter, accept. Okay, so we have a job in here, but what we don't have is any points, any control points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat, go to Instrument. I'm going to go to Position. Now then, what it's giving me on the screen is the GPS and the data collector. Okay, so I don't have a position with a robot yet or anything, but that's just with the data collector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, let's call it 5 foot, even though we know it's going to be way off. Enter, and I say store. So I'm going to store that as point name number 1, code, CP. I'm going to put A for autonomous, enter, store. Okay, so I stored point number 1. Now then what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to walk at least 300 feet that away to do the same thing, and then we'll have the gun look at us. So let's do this. Okay, so yeah, let's go 300 feet that way, and I'm going to show you how to get a backsight. After I do that, I'm going to show you how this puppy works, okay? So one of the things you've got to remember about this 360 Prism, this MultiTrack, is that, get you out of the sun there. This MultiTrack Prism is expensive, and there's no reason to use it for every project, right? So if you're not in a place where you need that doesn't have a lot of high reflectivity, there's no reason for you to use it, right? So I would recommend, especially on construction sites and stuff like that, if you don't have to worry about a lot of reflectivity, I would highly recommend that you use just a standard 360 Prism for most of the things you're going to be doing, because there is no sense in spending that kind of money on a prism that you could drop and break. And for God's sakes, don't put a GPS unit on top of this thing. I see you guys doing that. Do not, absolutely, under any circumstances should you do that. If you drop that prism with that GPS up on top of it, you're guaranteed to break the top of it. I mean, you lean up against the truck and it rolls over and hits the ground, snap. That's $3,500 gone. If you're going to be using a GPS on top of it, there's absolutely no reason to use that MultiTrack. So just let you guys know. Okay. Okay, so we have that one in there. So let's store a backsight. Let me go back. Whoop, wrong, I went too far. Instrument, position. We're going to store this. We'll call it number 2. We'll call it, let's just call it autonomous backsight. How's that? Backsight. Enter. We're going to say 5 foot, store. Okay. So we've got those. So let's go into measure. Let's go into VXS series. Let's say station setup. Okay, so I'm using an S7. An S7 has a camera in it, right? So an S7 not only does it have a camera in it, but it also does some, I hate to call it scanning. It's like fast reflectorless, maybe 15 points a second. It puts it in a scanning block, but it doesn't move fast enough for me to call it scanner. But anyways, okay, so I'm connected to the robot, and a couple things. One, it pops up. I've got show corrections on startup. You really need this because you really need to adjust your parts from in when you're dealing with robotic totalization. So if you're not aware of the parts from in settings, basically what that means is that you're adjusting for the speed of light down here on the earth with the temperature and pressure. We can get into that stuff later. But anyways, so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to go into this MultiTrack Prism. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but I just hit the little prism icon up here at the top. I'm going to edit that dude. And right now it's on active. I'm going to turn it to passive so I can show you guys some stuff. Accept. Okay, accept. Okay, temperature and pressure, it's probably a little closer to 65. This doesn't have to be exact. Just look at your phone, get it in ballpark, right? Don't forget to change it. Morning, afternoon, morning, noon, and afternoon. because the temperature changes throughout the day, and parts of wind does have an effect on your measurement on your distance. Okay, so we stored 2 points in here, right? So we have A, autonomous. So let's do this. Let's see where we're at. That gun is looking somewhere. Let me make sure we're zoomed all the way out. There's that tripod, so I should be over here somewhere. There I am. So that's a cool thing. You just tap on the screen with this S7, boom, it locks on there, right? So that's pretty sweet. Okay, so let's zoom down. The only bad thing about an S7 is if you're used to using the SX10 or SX12, this camera is horrible. But anyways, instrument height, we're going to just call it 5 foot because we don't really care. We're going to hit accept. And my backsight point is going to be number 2. There it is. Backsight height is 6.5. Angles and distances, we're going to say measure. And it's going to give me some huge error. You notice up top it's in standard mode. Told you what my deviation was. Vertical distance is only 35 foot off. That's pretty good, isn't it? Store. Okay, you notice up top it says GPS search is ready. The reason it says that is because if you go into instrument, we go to target controls, you want to make sure GPS turned on. Guy called me today. He was having problems with the gun finding him at night. And he's like, you showed me that, but I don't remember where it's at. You got to go turn it on. Once you turn it on, you're good. But it comes default. Every time you like load a new version of Access, it's probably going to be turned off, so go check it. So, you know, the other thing's the search window. So I was playing out here with all these prisms, and I set that search window or search horizontal range on 50 degrees because I want that thing sweeping. Normally, you don't want to do that. You want to sweep tight using the GPS and the data collector to get it to sweep, okay? So I'm going to accept that. Now then, we are ready to rock and roll. So if I go to measure and I go to measure topo, and if you look over here on the left hand side, this works the same way with the SX12 and 10. There's a camera, boom, I can turn the camera on. Okay, so this is turned off. That is set to passive. I'm going to show you what happens. So let's go back over here by the gun. Okay, a couple things I'm going to point out. One is if you notice at the top of the data collector, there's an S by that instrument. That means standard. That means it's shooting 5 shots and averaging those shots. That's what it means. Because if we go into settings, survey styles, VXS series, edit, you're going to look standard. Average observations is 5. Normally I like that to be on tracking because I want it constantly shooting the distance. Some people are worried it's going to chew up batteries. I don't know. These batteries last a long time these days in these guns, so I don't think you're going to have, as long as you got 2 batteries, I don't think you'll ever have a problem. But anyways, I like to leave mine on tracking mode. Tracking just means it's constantly shooting a distance. It doesn't mean tracking. The gun does that totally separately, right? But what it does mean is that it's going to constantly be shooting a shot, so I can see that it is definitely locked on me. Quick visualization, I can see that though, if that EDM, if that distance, that slope distance is changing, I know it's locked on me, right? Okay, so let me get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. Okay, so now if I hit this icon up here at the top of the screen, you'll notice right there under number 1, it says tracking. So under tracking, I am going to tap it, and you will notice that it has this little light going on behind the prism back there. That means it's trying to shoot distance, okay? So it's in tracking mode. You see the T, you see the little instrument with the little line coming out back and forth. That means it's in tracking mode. It's trying to shoot a distance. Problem is it can't find me. So let's see if we can make it find me. So this is where the active versus passive is going to be pretty interesting, okay? So we can see which way the gun's looking. Also, the other thing to remember is I stored a position, state plane coordinates. I stored a position on where the robot's at and where the data collector was at, right? Those are autonomous, and you notice the elevation was about 35 foot, right? Those are autonomous positions, so they're, you know, within probably 3 to 5 foot horizontally. So I used that and I'll get in a deeper video on it, but I use that so that the gun can find me. So that's crucial in another video. But yes, it's so the gun can find me. So right now, if I'm in here and I was to say, let me back out, you notice the gun just turned to me. And looky there, gun's locked on something. Oh, it's locked on that Seco Prism right there. It's not locked on me. Well, that's not what I wanted it to lock onto. So I could like keep trying to massage it over, get it to find me. See the problems I'm having? Oh, I think I finally got it to lock onto me. So, nope, it moved to another prism. See, that's the problem with passive guns. So you've got to be aware of how these things work. I used to say back in the day when we would sell a passive versus active gun, somebody bought a passive, I said, you can pay $10,000, you can pay attention. That was kind of the deal. It was like $5,000 to upgrade to a passive, from a passive to an active gun, something like that back in the day. Or it was, and with the Prism another $3,000, you're at about $8,000. So I just used to say, hey, $10,000, pay attention. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to turn this on. Let's put this on number 5. So I got this on number 5. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to edit. Whoop, wrong one. I'm going to edit that one. First I'm going to turn it on, I guess. My plan was to edit it. Edit that one. And I'm going to turn it from passive to active. Now we're going to talk a little bit about passive and active, and we're going to talk about semi as well, because I think that's pretty important. So if I say 6.5 VXS Series MultiTrack Target ID, you see you have 8 of them. I'm going to choose number 5. That's what I've got this set on. Hopefully I've got a good charged battery in here. I'm going to say active, and I gave it a name of MultiTrack, and my rod height is 6.5. Check. Accept. Now then, it's setting it. Let me get out of there. Now then, if I go back to here and I say, let's just do this is the button in the middle with the little satellite on it, that is a geo search, right? It's using a GPS position. Let's see how well it works. We're doing a 50-degree sweep, so we're sweeping big in here. And we're looking for target ID number 5. There it is, target ID number 5 found. So, you know, one of the things I noticed, somebody has turned my sound off in here. Where is that at? Where is that at? I don't remember where it's at. Settings, survey styles, connections, sound and vibration. Play sound, accept. Okay, so it's locked on me now. Now if I move, look as I move the prism back and forth, you can see it's locked on me. Now watch this. As I walk around these prisms, I could maybe zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to walk around in here. Here's all these prisms in here. Going around behind them. Did you see that glass pop by there? Look, there's another glass. Should be another glass coming up. Another glass. Check that out. That puppy don't find anything. It won't track anything but these IDs, these target IDs, these LEDs that's in here. That's all tracking. So, ain't that cool? But the moment I turn this off up here,
no target,
or just turn it to a wrong channel. So now it's not locked. And now, if I tell it to do a search, and I'm going to go just to search, now watch what happens.
searching,
The data collector still says it's looking for target ID number 5. I'm going to stand right up here in the front of these things. And it's looking for target ID number 5. So let's see if it can find target ID number 5. It's not that much luck. Not looking good. I think it's about to give up. Yep, she slowed down.
Target ID 5 not found.
There you go. Target ID 5 not found. Okay. And you can see I'm right in front of this prism right here, this Seco prism, right? So let's do this. Let's go in here and we'll turn this thing on. There's number 1 right there. So one of the things that I don't like it sweeping great big, right? I don't think great big sweeps are all that great. Let's do instrument. Let's do target controls. And I'm going to turn that down to a 10-degree search. Accept. Anyways, so you can use the joystick to find you if you need to. It's cool about the S7, it's got a camera in it, even though it's not that great, still yet I can find myself. If I was using an S5, it would have tracking lights on it, so it'd be like one side be green, one side be red, and that's how I'd figure out that it was looking at me, okay? I've kind of gotten partial to the camera. But anyways, okay, so I've got it on here now, and I've got it to number 5 is what I'm using. So let me step out away from this a little bit. I don't know if you can still see me at the camera or not. Let me step over here. If I do a GPS search, let's see if it's going to look for me here.
Searching. Target ID 5 locked.
Okay, so if you noticed, it was searching just in a real narrow window, right? So let's make sure we're not cheating here. Let's go to F1. Let's turn this thing around. Oop, I got it slowed down. I'm going to spin it around or it's looking the other direction. Okay, so now if I go into measure topo, measure topo, you're going to notice that the gun is automatically going to use that GPS search and try to find
Searching.
me.
Target ID 5 locked.
Boom, and you'll notice it's in tracking, it's shooting a distance, I'm ready to rock and roll. Another little tidbit of information down here at the bottom of the screen, you can hit this little arrow right here and you can change it to whatever you want to view, okay? So, how's that for cool stuff? So, everybody gets onto me because it's my filler word, so, what do you think about that? So, I think it's pretty cool. That, my friends, is the MultiTrack. You notice when I walked around in there with that thing on? Nope, not track anything but this. That's what you want, right? But you only want to use it in a high reflective area, parking lots, things like that. You're out here like I am right now, out here in the middle of God's country, there's no reason to use this MultiTrack. You're just taking a chance on dropping it on a rock and busting it or something, and that's too expensive, man. This thing needs to be in a box, and it only needs to be used when you need it, when it comes out. So I am going to go into, let's see, let's go up here. Let's say in Surrey. We'll shut this puppy down. And I say we call it a day. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do. And gotta get ready for that conference this week. So anyways, as always, guys, greatly appreciate you. Love you guys. Like and subscribe. It helps. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is.